Welcome into Private Pilot Lesson 1.6, the four forces acting on an airplane at all times, as well as we're going to talk a little bit about P factor. Let's look at our slide here really quick. What are the four forces acting on an airplane? Well, the first one we just discussed when we learned Bernoulli's principle. The first one is lift. However, lift has to have a counter. The counter to lift is weight. Lift and weight, and they work together and for and against each other. The other two forces, well, we have to move forward. We have to have our thrust generated by our engine and our propeller, and of course to counter that, we have drag. Now it's said when all four forces are acting together and they're equal, we're in what's called unaccelerated flight. That's your buzzword. That's the reason it's highlighted there. Unaccelerated flight. Remember that when all these four forces are equal, we're said to be in unaccelerated flight. And you know that lift works with weight and against it, and thrust works with drag and against it. When I'm in a climb, my lift exceeds my weight. My thrust exceeds my drag, and vice versa through different phases of flight. In unaccelerated level flight, not going any faster, any slower, not climbing, not descending, all four forces are equal. That's what you need to remember. Let's talk for a second now about P factor. P factor, propeller factor is what it's called. It's a left turning tendency. Now, as we get into more commercial pilot stuff down the road, if that's the route you want to go, we're going to dive deeper, obviously, into aerodynamics. But for the private pilot level, here's what you need to understand. Look at that image on the right side of your screen there. Because of the way the propeller spins, you got to realize the propeller is just another wing on its side. It's got a camber. Bernoulli's principle works the same way on that propeller. What happens is that right descending blade has a larger angle of attack than the left ascending blade. As you can see in that top-down photo, we generate more thrust on the right descending blade, which tends to pull us actually over to the left. There's a lot of gyroscopic stuff that goes into that as well, just because that's the natural direction of the propeller. So that's it's called the torque factor. That's going to pull us over a little bit as well. But for your check ride, for your written test, this is how you need to understand P factor. Mostly for your check ride with this. You need to understand that it's a left turning tendency, and it's because my right descending blade has a greater angle of attack and generates more thrust, thus pulls me over to the left. Make sense? Okay, remember that for your check ride, and I'll see you guys over in the next lesson.